Hi there, it's Kevin with GatheringMagic.com here with your wrap-up video for playing on a budget UG Flash. I'd like to first start off by saying I know we didn't get to see the greatest decks, and some of the games were kind of weird. Going to time with the black-green Golgari deck was kind of awkward, and then the BR deck matchup was certainly awkward. But I do like those videos because it does show the potential of this deck, and as you saw, it has 4-0 to tournament. And yes, the pilot is incredibly skilled. Big shout out to Badutini. He's a great Brazilian player. And he's not afraid to play kind of these strategies that aren't tier 1. If any of these quote-unquote pro players do kind of get out of their comfort zone, I definitely say that Badutini is one of them. Anyway, definitely love this list. I actually built this for my local game store now and have been playing it, and it's incredibly fun to play. Has great matchups against a lot of the archetypes, especially Esper. Absolutely love to play this deck against Esper. And the cards, I think the deck list itself is really powerful how it is. The sideboard, I would like to move some cards around a little bit. I don't know if I got to see the potential of Bident of Thassa. This card does not seem to fit very well in the it doesn't. I don't like it. Let's just put it out there. I think that there might be a better draw card spell. I mean, just go with maybe some more opportunities, or is there any other instant speed draw spell? I'm not even really thinking there is any good instant speed draw spells in the format, because Divination's sorcery speed. But nonetheless, I didn't like Bident of Thassa, so that'd be the only change. They maybe go up in the control, maybe in some more Cyclonic Rifts instead of Bident of Thassas, and I think that would work out the best. That's a card I definitely would want to see more of in the deck, is Cyclonic Rift, or have access to more of them. I know we do have Simic Charms, but overloading that Cyclonic Rift, and this is very amazing in this format. And yes, I am a tempo deck, and hardly ever, you think on paper you would hardly ever overload this Cyclonic Rift, but that option seemed to be happening more than common. It would be a very common occurrence that I'd want to overload Cyclonic Rift, clear the board, and get in for that last bit of damage, or save myself a turn when they alpha swing with everything. Cyclonic Rift kind of set them back on their whole have to cast creatures and whatnot. So cards that I did like is I wasn't the biggest fan of Skylasher. The protection blue is, I'm sure, really good against mono blue devotion, but other than that, it was kind of meh. Boon Satyr was awesome. This card was just a boss. Absolutely loved it. And Briarpack Alpha, surprisingly, was amazing. It ended up being like a creature removal, a 5/5 blocker a lot of the times. Kill their card they swung in with, and then you get the 3/3/3/3/3 from then on out with your little wolf here. Horizon Chimera was awesome. Really liked this card as well. Of course, this was something that was nice to hook up with a Simic Charm, as it gains trample, or it has trample, and the +3/+3 trample is, there isn't a lot of flyers that can deal with a 6/5 flying trample guy. And the draw card, the game life, is actually very pertinent against the aggro decks. So, I mean, I would like to see a better 2-drop flash than Shambleshark. I don't know if there's enough way for this guy to evolve. A little bit awkward with, like, Skylashers. I mean, Boon Satyrs are great. But, I mean, the deck definitely does have potential, and it will have even more potential to get another flash card, or just any sort of Simic-type strategy out of Born of the Gods. One card I would like to see played, for sure, would be the Mystic Genesis. Let's pull it up. I think that it actually is good here for a late game, counter a spell, and put out a creature. So let's see, add green here. Mystic Genesis. It is 5 mana though, but I think that this definitely would be maybe better than even Bident of Thassa or whatnot. On your 5th turn, it kind of acts like you want to be flashing in a creature in a turn. This is what the deck's trying to do. So if you counter their spell, it is kind of like flashing in a creature. It's keeping up a counter spell and flashing a creature. So most likely you get at least a 4/4 out of this. And I think a 4/4 flash counter, if this was a 5 mana 4/4 flash creature counter target spell, I think it'd be, of course, that'd be better because you could play it if you didn't have to counter a spell, but nonetheless, I think that Mystic Genesis does have a spot in here. Prime Speaker Zagon is another one that I think might be better than Bident of Thassa. The only thing that's missing is it doesn't have flash, and it is 6 mana, but I think we did get to turn 6, turn 7 a lot, and maybe even more opportunities. I think 2 is perfect. You didn't want to see many of them in your opening hand, but it was something that was really good to draw into. Definitely did save our skin plenty of times. Syncopate was pretty good. I didn't like it against a number of decks, so it might be better placed sideboard and just Essence Scatter's main board. And again, Negate seems to be good against any deck. I was also thinking about Swansong, because with Skylasher, Swansong's not that big of a deal, especially you could bring it against Esper. I think it's better than Gainsay. Gainsay was initially the card of choice to bring in against Esper, but Swansong, maybe it's called Swansong, right? The one that counter target spell, put a 2/2 bird token into your opponent's control. That's definitely the card that I would suggest running in this deck. Let's see if it pulls it up. Magic's being weird. There we go. Swansong, yep. Okay, so counter target enchantment, instant, or sorcery spell. So against Esper, maybe Gainsay, it doesn't work against Mono Blue Devotion, but I think that with the synergy of Skylasher, this isn't a big of an issue. And again, you have access to plummets, and I don't think the 2/2 flyer will. Just the 1 mana is so pertinent. It allows you to keep up. You could still keep up like Simic Charm mana or flash in something. And the 2/2 flyer, again, I don't think is going to be that big of a deal. Triton Tactics was surprisingly good. Really, really good against the aggro decks. I'm sure Plummet would have seen more play. I'm thinking that this actually does need to be a 2 or 3 of, or 3 or 4 of, because there is enough pertinent targets with Night Veil Spectre, which can give this deck a bit of a problem, and also the Desecration Demon. So I hope you enjoyed this. I had a lot of fun with this. This is a very inexpensive deck. All you have to do to make this deck be under, what, like $40 is cut the Mutavaults and Breeding Pools, and it seems to work just fine that way. Like, nothing is too... There's a lot of doubles, like blue, green, or double green, double blue. So I would suggest going up probably more Simic Guildgates if you were to cut the Breeding Pools and Mutavaults. And Simic Guildgates doesn't hurt you too much. Also one card I absolutely think you should at least do a 1 of in here is Elvish Mystic. I think Elvish Mystic works perfectly in this deck as a 1-drop. And the only other thing I might suggest going is Deathrite Shaman, but you wouldn't be able to accelerate. But it really feels like this card needs a 1-drop, or this deck needs a 1-drop. And Elvish Mystic, being able to cast a turn 2, flash in a turn 2 Boon Satyr is incredibly powerful. So I would go down to 20. Like right now we're using 24 lands. You could easily go down to 23. I don't know if Elvish Mystic going into a 4 of Elvish Mystic is the way to go, but at least like a 2 of. Maybe even a 3 of, and then you can cut some of these Encroaching Wastes were terrible, but you can cut down to 23 lands, add in some maybe 2 of Elvish Mystics, and go from there. I think this deck would work a lot better than 25 lands. Again, you don't need to, Opportunity you do need to get up to, but Opportunity isn't a must in this deck. You could figure out some other sort of reach or card draw, or just its advantage, or like I said, Elvish Mystic, getting into that Horizon Chimera on turn 3, flashing Horizon Chimera, you're holding up Dissolve mana, or you're threatening with Horizon Chimera. All this is enabled by Elvish Mystic. So, and then if you go with the Elvish Mystic route, you could even splash in like red for Domri, and I wouldn't be against that either, as there's a lot of creatures in this deck, and I think that Domri might actually have a nice little place in this deck. I don't know. Maybe not. Anyway, though, I had a lot of fun playing this deck. This is one of my more, at least more competitive budget decks I've done in a while. And if you are starting out in Magic, again, like I said, if you cut the Temple or the Breeding Pools and the Mutavaults, this becomes an incredibly inexpensive deck. So if you're a brand new player, want to get your feet wet in competitive Magic, don't want to play mono red, don't want to play some of these other type strategies, mono white, that is another inexpensive strategy, you can definitely go this route. This has been Kevin with GatheringMagic.com. Thanks for watching.